that I'm excited to share with you tonight. So we're going to hop in now. Everybody's had a few minutes to get on, and people will be able to watch the replay afterwards. So for those of you who don't know, I am Jillian Bolands. I am an intuitive life coach. I am in love with self-discovery. I am, according to television, for some programs that I've been on, I'm a self-discovery expert. And I love self-discovery so very much. I have a live event called True You Live, where it is a whole weekend dedicated to uncovering the true you. I'm obsessed with helping women to uncover their dreams, to get rid of all the blocks and all the funk and all the yuck that has covered up our dreams for so long, and to rise into their greatest selves, their greatest work. Because if I know one thing is for certain, the world needs more of us rising into our truth, right? Can I get an amen for that? The world needs more of us aligning with love, feeling that centeredness, feeling that worthiness, not dealing with the funk, getting out of the funk more quickly so that we can show up in this world with light, with love, with passion, doing what we're meant to do. And it's really hard to do that when we feel stuck in a funkadelic place. Now, we are human, are we not? We are souls having a human experience, but we are still human. And we get stuck in ruts. We fall down. Crappy things happen. Things that we don't expect happen. But because you are all at the next level, you are all ready to rise. You are here tonight. I can feel you all. You're like a bunch of like wet sponges. Like, we're just going to wring you out tonight. And it's going to feel so good. I want you to feel elated. I want you to feel like you have a plan. I want you to feel super tapped in and remember who you truly are. Because here's the truth of it all. And I've learned this from Abraham Hicks. I've learned this from other people who are very deep into the spiritual world and the energy world. When you feel anything outside of a positive feeling, so joy, abundance, happiness, connectedness, peace. When you're feeling anything outside of that, it's because you are not in alignment with your truth. Our truth is in alignment with those good feelings. So when we are feeling funky, when we are feeling lack, when we are feeling debt, when we are feeling angry or fear, it's simply because we have forgotten for a moment that we actually are made of joy and magic and love and abundance. And that's okay when we remember that we get to celebrate that, and it doesn't have to be such a bad thing. That's higher level stuff. I said that very simply, so it takes a lot of work to get there, but we're going to start that work tonight. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? So, like I said, I actually have the workbook up on my computer, and I am going to teach on the fly, but I'm going to use it as, I'm going to kind of use it as my guide, because we're going to work. We're going to get to work. Do you guys all have a pen? Y'all have a pen? Have your journal? Got a water? Okay, because we're going in. So, welcome to Out of the Funk. Don't you love that title so much? Are you ready to get out of the funk? Hello to our new joinees. Welcome. Okay, welcome to Out of the Funk. In this masterclass tonight, ladies, we are going to witness and name what you actually feel funkadelic about. Because one thing I know for sure is that when we feel funky, right? Like, we just know, like, I just feel bleh. It's easy to just say, I just feel bleh. I don't know. I just feel angry. I just feel, yeah. But we are going to actually name what it is that's going on. Because when we witness what's going on, we know what we get to release. And it's hard to release bleh, but it's easy to release specific things when we call them out and when we name them. So that's what we're going to do tonight. We are also going to help you to apply the 6 steps to getting out of the funk and into a space of feeling better. And I'm going to walk through those 6 steps with you, and I'm actually going to use myself as an example, like I said at the beginning of this, in a very, I'm very transparent, very real sort of way. Like, I tell the truth, you guys. Like, I come at it with my whole heart, and I'm using myself as an example. So, first question for you, and I invite you, you can either journal this out now, or I'd love for you to comment below too. What is causing the funk for you? What is causing the funk for you? I am going to, hey Lauren, hey Darlene, I'm going to share kind of like pre-paving the road for you about what was causing the funk for me and give you space. And throughout this training, I'm going to give you a couple moments space to like really, really think about things. Because here's the thing, getting on a training and feeling inspired is one thing. Getting on a training and getting shit done is another thing. I want you to feel both, okay? Because you need both. So for me, my funkadelic situation actually started before tax season. I was piling all sorts of stuff onto my schedule. I was actually functioning in a very old way that I had functioned for most of my life, which is do all the things, schedule myself to death. And now I know that when I fill up all of my time, it's because there's something I'm not willing to get intimate with myself on. So I was filling up all my time. I was trying to do all the things. I was leaving zero space for magic. I was burning myself out. Now, then came tax season. And for me, I'm going to be talking about finances which was like the major catalyst of my funk. It's not, and I'm going to break down not just finances. Like I'm going to give you other examples. But for me, what is causing the funk? Well, on the surface, it was the fact that I owed the IRS $12,000 for taxes. Now, that was a good thing because it showed the growth of my business, but it was a very, very, very deeply rooted thing. That hit me like a ton of bricks. And it wasn't the fact that it was the $12,000. I had that in my bank account. I had that. I run my own business, my own intuitive life coaching business. I had it. I knew that I needed to set aside some for taxes, even though I'd been paying quarterly. And I didn't have a lot to base my taxes off of. Because the year prior, I had just started my business. So I didn't know. But thank goodness I had it. However, what came up for me, what the response was in me was, oh my gosh, I have this money and now I don't have it. And also I had this money and it was a just in case for my family. And now I feel like I'm letting my family down. And oh my gosh, like what am I going to do? Q1 taxes are coming and now they're a lot more than they were last year. How am I going to create this, right? So it was the constant spiral. It was like the sucker punch to the gut. And then it was the constant spiral of, okay, Jill, you have filled up all your time. You've done all the things. What have you put out there? You have really just overextended yourself in all the places. And now you find yourself in a very debt-ridden place. And ladies, I'm just going to say this right now. And for those of you that work with me, money is currency and currency is energy. So I just want you to keep in mind tonight that whatever's coming up for you with one area, maybe the thing that's causing the funk for you is you gained a certain amount of weight, or maybe the thing that's causing the funk for you is that you haven't felt connected to your spouse, or you got in a fight with a sibling or something like that. That's causing the funk. Well, the underlying energy that's in one area of our life isn't just compartmentalized to that one area. So as I was feeling very debtful, very like super thinking thoughts of like, oh my gosh, like everything's broken, I was starting to see that I was believing those things in other areas of my life. I had fear about money, so then I had fear about my body, and then I had fear about my relationships. That same underlying energy. Do you know what I mean? Can I have some hearts if you know what I mean? We think our life is compartmentalized into just like this box, and then this box, and then this box, and then this box. But the energy is all underlying. And so we're going to get into that tonight. Yeah, you guys know what I mean. Okay, so let's see. You guys are replying here. Disappointed about a friend feeling my financial growth so much, yet not sure what's happening. Not giving myself enough time to do my inner work. I didn't get a job that my self-confidence was riding on, so depending upon something else for your confidence and not having it come from you. I tie my self-worth to my ability to bring money to my family. That a lot of people have that. And we're going to work through that. We're going to work through that because that's not true. That's not true, you guys. The jobs, the money, the outside things, none of that is contingent upon your worthiness. You are innately worthy, and we cannot wait for something else to make us happy. This training is going to teach you how to raise your vibration and bring the joy beforehand. We are going to, here's my promise, and here's what I want you to promise to me. I want you to start promising me that you are going to stop looking at your current reality and believing in it. I'm just going to let that one sink in. We are going to stop looking at our current reality and believing in it. When we look at what's going on, we tend to look at what's not there. I was looking at the money that was no longer in the bank, right? So some of you may be looking at the job that you don't have or the relationship that you no longer have. Instead of looking at it and saying, oh, okay, it's on its way. It's on its way, and I'm going to focus on it being on its way. I'm not going to focus on the lack of it being here. I'm not going to focus on it not being here. I'm going to focus on whatever feels friggin' awesome, feels really, really good, and I'm going to allow for it to come by way of that. So good. Direction in my career, the next chapter. My daughter is graduating high school, being heading home. You guys, yeah, I feel it, you guys. All of this. Let's break it down even further. Fear of financial future. So I'm scrambling and stretching myself way too thin. So you feel it, Heidi. You know, right? Okay, are you guys ready for the steps? So that's like me like paving the way, like setting the stage, right? So I was feeling funkadelic because all of a sudden, all of this money was gone. And I'm going to get into really what it was all about, but I'm going to walk you through it. So step one in getting out of the funk and into a life that feels full and rich and abundant and prosperous and wealthy is to feel it. To feel the feeling. We just talked about what caused the feeling. Now I want you to feel the feeling that it actually is. Actually feeling the yucky feelings help for us to know specifically what we want to release. It also allows for us to acknowledge what we don't want rather than stuffing it down and pretending like it doesn't exist. Who does that? Who does that? Who, when something comes up, when a yucky feeling comes up, you're like, no, I don't like that. And you try to shove it down. You try to stuff it down. Literally, ladies, we've been doing this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. This is not new to us now. But what happens is that our lineage carries the energy of stuffing things down. And we're ready to release that. The divine feminine is rising in all of us, and she is ready to show up, hands up. She is tired of stuffing stuff down. Ladies, this is how we get ourselves sick, too. Truly. That's a different conversation for a different day. But instead of stuffing things down, let's just witness it. Let's just call it what it is. That monster always comes back hairier and scarier. Always. So I'm actually going to lead you in a guided meditation, and we're going to really cruise through these steps for you. So if you would, close your eyes. And Rising Mastermind, ladies, I did this for you because I know that you guys are obsessed with my guided meditations. I thought of you. I've got you. And for those of you that are new to me and maybe new to guided meditations, trust the process. It's just going to be a couple minutes, but it's really going to set the stage for getting through these next few steps. So if you would, I invite you to sit up straight no matter where you are. And I invite you to open your palms. Just be open and willing to receive. Okay? I'm going to walk you through a guided meditation. I invite you to close your eyes and just take a couple deep breaths to just center yourself in where you are right now. Be here in this moment. I want you to get into your heart center and feel a surge of love. a surge of love for yourself because you are here receiving this training because you're ready to. This is meant for you. You are meant for abundance. You are meant for wealth and prosperity. You are meant for ultimate health. You are meant for deeper connections with the people that you love, with your job, with your life, with spirit, with anything. Spouses, significant others, friends, you're meant for deeper. And I want for you to get settled right into your heart. Feel it right in the center of your chest, feeling the gratitude for you taking the moment to be here tonight. And I want you to witness that an escalator has appeared right at the bottom of your heart center. You hop on the escalator and it takes you down right into your solar plexus, which is the space in your body. It's the energy center in your body that it's like your gut. This is where you feel your intuition. This is also where you feel your worthiness. The truth is, you are innately worthy. You have gifts that only you have. And they're so beautiful. And the world needs them. And as we cover ourselves up with shame and with guilt and with lack and with anger, we forget that worthiness. Right here in this solar plexus will center chakra, I want you to ask you, that true version of you, what it is exactly you've been feeling. I want you to name it. Is it despair? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it debt? Does it come from a place of external world like Jillian's did with the trigger of the debt? Does it come from a place of internal sadness, disconnection? Whatever it is, I just want you to look at it and just allow yourself to feel it. Because as we feel, we free. I want you to say that silently to yourself. As I feel, I free. Feel that feeling. I want you to witness that feeling almost becoming a tangible firefly that's flying around in front of you. You can see it. Maybe the firefly has fangs. Maybe it has armor. Maybe it has claws that look bloody because it just has been tearing you up inside. I want you to witness it and look down and realize that you have a jar. You have a jar in your hand. And this is not the type of feeling that you have to go screeching after, nor do you have to sneak up on it. You simply get to take the lid off the jar and allow for this feeling that has been keeping you in the funk to enter. And you know that it will. You trust that it will. Take the lid off the jar and call that feeling back home, because as we said before, any feeling that is outside the feeling of love, any feeling that is laced with fear, ultimately at its core, is not of your truth. And it gets to be released so that you get to create the beautiful, deeply connective, rising self, rising work, rising impact, rising love, rising ripple effect that you are going to make on this world, that you are meant to make on this world. I want you to see this little monster firefly enter the jar, and I want you to put a lid on it. I want you to look around your solar plexus chakra, your intuition center, and see how clean and clear and vibrant it looks without this monster. You're feeling good. And with that, with a little pep in your step and a little lightness, you go back over to the escalator and you hop on. And you don't just ride this escalator. You're so excited now. You're so excited because for once, you finally allowed yourself to feel it, and now we get to do something with it. We get to help ourselves rise on the escalator out of the funk and right back into love. So you start running right up that escalator, making the trip go a little bit more quickly, a little bit more excitedly, and you find yourself back in the safety and the beauty and the bounty and the abundance of your heart chakra. In this space, you witness the jar in your hand, the jar that holds the demon that has been bothering you but was still so willing to hop in the jar and be released. And you look down and you now see that that jar that contained such a deep feeling of yuck is now a shining, bright, silvery gold, glittery light. And you look over to the side of your heart chakra and you find a little secret door has just appeared. And just like everything else, we get to allow love to envelop this beautiful light. Because love really is the answer to everything. Love really is the way back to peace, back to abundance, back to the beginning of your truth. You put this shining, glittery, silvery gold light right into your heart. And as you feel your heart envelop it, almost swallow it, you take a huge, huge deep breath. You feel your heart expand and you know that you get to release. Say it with me. I release. I choose love. I am ready to rise out of the funk. I'm ready to do the work. Take one final deep breath, you guys, and as you're ready to come back, open your eyes, wiggle your fingers. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well done. Well done. Amazing work. How is that? Good. So, the question that I have for you in the workbook is, what are the feelings that you're actually feeling when you're in the funk? And you can list them out. What were they? What did you feel? And where did they live in your body? For many, many, many of us, the feelings of the funk live right there, right in the belly, you guys, right in that gut. We feel it. That's why it feels like a sucker punch to the gut. Those stuck, yucky feelings, they almost, like, they fester and they almost decay right there. Good. I'm so glad that was helpful. Good, good, good. Where do they live in your body? For some of you, you may notice that you feel those stuck feelings maybe in your hips, maybe in your sacral chakra. Maybe it's up in your head. You feel like everything's congested up here. Fear, shame, distrust. Very good. Good. Deepest breath I've taken since the retreat. Yes, good. Anxiety, unworthiness, sadness. And how did it feel for you guys to witness that those feelings actually don't want to be in our body? Our soul, our deeply connected self, knows that we are made of love, and we are meant to create a life from that space. And whenever those yucky feelings pop up, we can celebrate them because they're just reminding us that we just got to get back to that centeredness. And that's where the work that we're doing is tonight. Good. Good, you guys. Very good. Heart chakra. Brandy, we'll talk more about that too, because I discovered another essential oil that may be very, very helpful. We can talk about that at the end. So My monster firefly didn't want to get in the jar. The little shit. That feeling of not enough lives there. That was a great meditation. Good. Okay, you guys. Let's move on to step 2. Because we're going to continue to feel the things. And we're going to continue to release. So step 2 in the process of the 6 steps. So with step 1 for me, I felt the fear. I felt fear. I felt debt. I felt lack. I felt heaviness. I felt like I couldn't do anything right. Like I was putting my family in danger. It was a really real feeling for me. Step 2 is I want you to dig. I know that some of you are like, didn't we just dig? Yeah, we dug, but we got to go deeper. We get to go deeper. So I want you to think about what is the trigger for these feelings that you've had. You may have had an actual event. Like I said, for me, the event was getting word that I owed the IRS 5 figures of money. That was the event. But the trigger was underneath that. This one may require you to get really still and quiet with yourself. And this is part of releasing the funk, you guys. The funk doesn't like intimacy with self. I repeat, the funk does not like intimacy with self. And it gives you the excuse to avoid intimacy and stay in the funk through many ways, right? So how many of you over the past days, weeks, months, however long you've been feeling the funk, have felt a lack of motivation? Or have felt that you knew what would help, but you just weren't willing to do it? Feelings of unworthiness, of laziness almost. How many people have been feeling those things? Right? So this is what the funk does. It's kind of like, so Brene Brown teaches that shame does not want to be talked about. Shame wants to live in the darkness, and that's why we feel like, oh my gosh, when I'm ashamed, I want to run and hide. But it's actually when we talk about it that we release the shame, because shame cannot survive in the light. Well, the funk does not like getting intimate with itself. And when you are feeling like I don't have enough time, or I just don't feel like it, or anything having to do with time, when you're feeling unmotivated, when you know you should do something, but you just can't. So many people over the past week are like, I know what I have to do to feel better. I just don't want to do it. Right? So you talk yourself into it being easier not to do it than to just actually do it. So I want you to think about what was the feeling, situation, moment, or memory that triggered the funkadelic feelings. So for me, I'm going to share. For me, the event was having to pay 5 figures back in taxes. But the trigger underneath it was that the feeling I had, like I just shared, was that I was disappointing my family, or I was letting my family down, or I was putting them in danger. And for me, there had actually been another event prior to the actual taxes coming back that I felt like I had made a mistake, and I felt like I had put my family in danger. Now, I didn't. And it was one of those, you look back and you learn from a decision that you make, but it still doesn't feel good. And so for me, when the taxes came back, I thought it was going to alleviate that fear, and it just allowed for it to show up in another way. So this one, I want you to sit with a little bit. You make a plan, sounds good in your head, but to actually follow through gives me complete anxiety. We can talk about that, Veronique. We can definitely talk about that. And you guys, I know that I'm missing some of these comments, but it's, divine timing. I'm picking up on the ones that I feel like are meant for me in the moment. So you're not alone. So what was the feeling, situation, moment, or memory that triggered the funkadelic feelings? So we know what the feeling is. What is it that triggered it? I want you to get really real with yourself here. For me, it was an underlying feeling like I was letting my family down. And then all the surface level stuff, all the money stuff, just compounded it. It gave like a very earthly, a very humanly approach to me being able to tear myself down. That's what it was. So what is that for you? We're going to go on to step 3. Step 3 is to call in support. This is what I did throughout my process. As I was looking at getting myself out of the funk, I felt it, I dug, I said, what are the triggers here? And then I called in support. And so here's the truth. We've been trained to put our heads down and to figure it out, right? How many of us are figure-outers in here? Oh, as soon as I figure it out, I'll be fine. Right? I just got to figure it out and then I'll be all set. How many of you have said that? Like a bazillion times. So we've been trained by society to put our head down and figure it out. We have been modeled to believe that asking for help reveals weakness. Am I right? I can't possibly ask for help. That would mean that I'm weak. I don't want people to think I'm weak. I am a woman. Hear me roar. I am strong. I can't be weak. Right? We've been trained that way by a very patriarchal society that was created by man for man. We function differently, ladies. Erin, I got you, boo. So, here's the truth. We crave community. We crave it. We as women especially crave community. We desire people who will both guide us and uplift us by reminding us of our own brilliance. AKA, we desire people who are going to hold space for us, who are going to just hold us when we cry and laugh with us when we laugh, but they're also going to call us on our crap because they know we're better than that. And they're here to remind us of that. And that comes through sacred connection and through calling in your people, through calling in support. We love being a part of sacred connection so that we can give and take, right? We're part of deep connections so that we can support other people and guide them and uplift them and be there for them when they need it, because we also know that on the other side, we're going to need to receive at some point. Hannah, I think I've been in a funk of some sort since my sister died 6 years ago, and I think I'm feeling out of place at all, or uncertainty really gets me off course and I lose all motivation. Honey, that is some deep, deep, deep stuff. And yes, I'm here with you. I'm holding space for you. There's a lot of room for movement there, but I'm really proud of you for witnessing that for yourself. And I'm so sorry that that happened. So, calling in support. Ladies, gentlemen, we were never meant to do any of this alone. Ever. We were never meant to. Somehow society has been created that we need to be isolated and by ourselves, and we can figure it all out. And I can be super mom, and I can be on this committee and that committee and bake all the cookies and run a 7-figure business and do this and do this and do this, right? And like feel like we're like not losing our freaking mind. No, we were not meant to do this alone. So I want you to take a second here and just write out in your journal or on your workbook who can help you with the specific funkadelic feelings that you're having. I want you to write down names of people who both know your heart and is expert. I will tell you that as I was going through my whole tax situation, I called in 3 people, and I called them in because they know my heart, I trust them, and they're friggin' expert at money and mindset and worthiness. I called in my husband, and this is not an easy one for me, ladies. I've done a lot of work around this because I used to feel like I can do it. I don't need a man. I mean, I love my husband. He is like the best creature on the entire planet. Some of you have met him and can vouch for that. But like, it was kind of like I'd been raised of like, I don't need a man. I can do this. I can do anything that a man can do, right? Mia Hamm, Michael Jordan, anything you can do, I can do better. That stuck with me. So I called in my husband because I needed that emotional support, and I needed to be really held in this very raw and tender and gross and crying state I was in. I also called in my coach. I have a life and business and spiritual coach. I called her in. And I asked her specifically, what do? I had to create a plan. I needed to start helping myself. I didn't know where to start. So I called her in, and I called in another soul sister of mine who is a wealth coach. So she knows what she's doing with money, and she knows my heart. So I called in these 3 people because they know me, they love me, and they're friggin' good at what they do. So they could hold space for me and being human and be there for me and love me, but also help me get a plan to get out of the funk. Because I can't just stay there. We can't just stay there staring at the $12,000 that's not there anymore. That's not good for anybody. That's not me showing up in my power or my purpose. That's not me serving anybody. Just like you can't stay in whatever funkadelic place you're in right now, because that's you taking away your power. So write down some names of people who can really, really help you. This is so crucial. It's so crucial. And you don't need to be coached or guided or take advice from just anybody, right? And I wouldn't recommend listing multiple people. Less than a handful. Because the other thing that we try to do is we try to over-educate ourselves and take on opinions and advice from everybody, and that's not helpful either. Get support from the people that are really going to help you move the needle forward. Step 4. Help yourself. Help yourself. It is time to get your game face on. Step 4 is when we take all the feelings, we take all the advice, and we freaking turn it into action. We get the game face on, ladies. You do know how to help yourself. You do have tools. You do have a team. You have a team here on earth, and you've got a spiritual team. You do have resources. You do have the source energy of the entire universe at your fingertips. The same universal love. Some call it God, some call it universe, some call it spirit, some call it whatever. Insert your favorite word here. You are made up of the same thing as everything else in the universe. You cannot tell me that you do not have the power to get yourself out of this. Now we raise your energy. Now we get up. It is personal pep talk time. It's time to move. So, how can you start speaking to yourself that will give you back your power? So far, and I appreciate your honesty, you guys. I appreciate it so much. So far, we have stared at the problem. We've talked about the feelings. We've called in the people that we could really gain support from. We've looked at the triggers. Now it's time to put the game face on, ladies, and do something about it. I was sitting in this chair, and I was like, Jill, enough is enough. You are too good at what you do. You are so impactful to so many people, and you are not doing anybody any favors by staying in this funky place. You're not bringing income into your family. You are not impacting the world. You are not giving your light and your energy to people when you're like this. Time to put the game face on. It's time to move. Step 4 is what you avoid, Erin. Interesting. I am, she is, we are. Yeah. Yes. So, why? Do you feel like you don't have the power? Do you feel like it is easier to play the victim than to actually stand in your power? Ladies, just think about actually, it's going to go into step 5, but think about it. Stepping onto, how many of you played sports? Stepping onto that soccer field, right? Stepping up to the plate. You can think about it. You've been feeling all the feelings the whole game, but until you get on the field, nothing's going to change. And remember that when you have support, it's easier to get the game face on. You feel like you give yourself the same pep talk every day. We should be changing up that pep talk there, sister. I feel like I have the power, but do I have the stamina? Interesting. That's a really good reflection, Erin. So awesome. And here's where you get to experiment. You get to experiment. You get to look at what you actually want, and you get to say, okay, I know I'm powerful. I know I can move. And I know that I don't have to be on all the time. But being on and moving forward is so much more impactful to getting out of the funk than sitting in the funk. The stamina is what I second guess, and that's where my fear comes from. Holy shit, there it is. So interesting. And Erin, and I dare say that sounds like it's got a lot of masculine energy. That sounds like you then feel like you have to go all the way And you have to like put on that old way of thinking of like, okay, I got to get to work and I got to work super hard and I'm never going to rest and I'm always going to go, 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 go. You guys, getting out of the funk for me has looked like this. It's not been a straight line up. There have been many dips, but in those dips, I have put in purposeful recharging time because I'm human. And because I don't want to be in a place of constant work, of constant force, of constant strife. I want to do it. I want to rise. I want to have fun with my game face on. And the stamina with that. So let's talk about Divine Feminine for a minute. The Divine Feminine is always swirling. She's always moving. She's always creating. The Divine Feminine rests in her knowing that there is no finish line. There's just movement and beauty and creation. There's no hurry up and get there. When we're trying to get out of the funk, yeah, sometimes we need to insert a little masculine energy here and like, boop ourselves up. But the Divine Feminine provides the stamina when we go in and we say, okay, this doesn't have to be a race against myself. This gets to be fun, but I can either sit here in the funk telling myself that I know what to do, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Or we can start doing it with support, with love. There are more steps. It'll help you. Darlene, I wanted to see what you said. For me, it's that I have too many things that I need closure to really dive into where I want to go. Nobody else's opinions of what I should do. Yes, sister. So your action steps look like, how do we gain that closure for you? Game face on, girlfriend. We're not going to just let those boxes stay open anymore, right? So your game face, your feeling of funk is coming from that feeling of like, oh my gosh, there's so much to do. Game face on, we get to close up some stuff. Heidi, I've been in a place of constant work because of fear, though, so it's work powered by fear, which isn't good, right? So here's the other thing. Some of you are entrepreneurs, and even if you're not, this can still apply. We live in a time-space reality where it's super easy to never stop working. But ladies, the Divine Feminine does not need to continually work. She gets to continually create, but in order for her to be creative and show up feeling really fulfilled and passionate, she needs to have those moments of recharge, of simply swirling to swirl, of not working, of not functioning, of not going. This is so illuminating. I hope this is helpful. So, how can you start to speak to yourself that will give you your power back? Words like, I am doing it. I do have. It's coming to me. And switching up your belief. And then what can you do that will feel good? What can you do that will feel good? Because I guarantee that if you're in the funk, not much has felt good. So instead of like creating all these to-do lists for yourself that are work focused, what if you just danced? What if you just went for a walk? What if you just sat down and painted? I will tell you that. So here's what I did. I put my game face on and I asked Spirit for a sign. I said, okay, I need to start generating some money to cover Q1 taxes. I need to get back on track here. It's not going to come. Money isn't going to show up when I keep staring at the fact that I don't have the money. That's just not going to happen. So what can I do? I asked Spirit. I said, okay, I'm open and willing to receive doing something different. What do you got for me? And I got an infusion. I literally felt words sink into my head saying lunar cycle intensive. And for those of you that don't know, I'm obsessed with the moon. I'm obsessed with cycles. I'm obsessed with goddesses, all of the things. And I have been kind of keeping them in like a hobby pocket for me. I've brought them into my work. But this was the first time that I ever like truly led with an intensive with one-to-one coaching in this way. And it felt really exciting. So that was a Thursday night. Friday, I launched it. I didn't have a page on my website. I just said, okay, I'm doing this thing. And it felt fun. It felt fun and exciting. And anytime I started to feel funky, I just got back into what feels fun. All right, I'm just going to show up with excitement about this. I'm going to put this offer out there. It's something new. I've never done it before. It feels exciting. I think it could help people. That was the key. I stopped staring at what I didn't have. I put the game face on. I asked for guidance. I asked for guidance from my people, and then I asked for guidance from source, and I moved on it. I started speaking to myself differently, saying, oh, that feels exciting. Oh, that could be a good time. I know for certain that'll change people's lives. A one-to-one intensive with me? That's incredible. Little Jillian in your pocket? Hashtag you're welcome. Like, you guys, like, it's just the truth. I know what my strengths are. So what if I started to have fun with them and create something with them? Do you even feel my energy changing just talking about it? This is how I felt. So what is it that you could do that feels good? And then I'll share with you, let's get to step 5, because that'll be a perfect leeway. Step 5 is energetically up level. If you want more abundance, you need to stop staring at the lack. I'm going to say that again. If you want more abundance, you need to stop staring at the lack. I was staring at $12,000 gone, staring at it as if something was going to move, as if that was going to change, as if that was going to feel better. What I started doing instead was focusing on abundance. Okay. For me specifically, how can we create more money? Money is currency. Currency is energy. It can be created at any time. Just like feeling better, just like healing relationships, just like healing your body. All of this is full of abundance. So instead of looking at what I didn't want anymore, I started moving and feeling differently and calling in more of what I did want. I started doing something that was abundance related and not lack related. Creating a new program for me is what made sense. Now, I know not all of you are wanting to build businesses, or even like that's not on your radar, but what could be different? Okay. So if you've had an illness, rather than still staring at the illness, what's something that you could do that will make you feel revitalized? Maybe taking a bath. Maybe going for a walk, right? Just mixing it up. Abundance lives on a higher vibration. And in order to be a match for it, I'm going to get to that in a second, you need to raise your internal vibe. Abraham Hicks says, it's on its way. And I say, and I'm celebrating the creation of it. It's on its way, right? I had no idea where I was going to come up with Q1's taxes. I had just paid $12,000 to the government for last year. Lackville, Debtville, Angerville, Letdownville. I didn't know where Q1's taxes were going to come from, but I knew it was on its way. And I knew that me creating a different vibration would allow for me to be a match for it. Because everything we want is already there, you guys. But if we're down here in the funk, we're going to receive things that are on the funk level. If you want to bring in something different, you need to become a match for it. It doesn't become a match for you. You raise your vibe, you become an energetic match for what you want. So good. So things like dancing, singing, ritual, change. I will tell you, the weekend that I launched the Lunar Cycle Intensive, I had many calls scheduled with people over the weekend. And in between the calls, this is what I did. I went for a long run and I listened to spiritual stuff. I applied essential oils, and I did some ritual for myself all weekend. I played with my kids. I focused on anything else besides money. I didn't even let money come into my brain. I was having conversations with people, or I was doing something completely different. I was changing my vibe. I was getting in a good space. I was feeling good. That was my priority. So what tools do you have? What things and rituals could you do to raise your vibe? If you want to mix things up, how can you literally physically move your body to raise your vibe? How can you get connected more spiritually to raise your vibe? You want to be a match for something that's not living in Funkville. You need to raise your vibe so that it can come to you. It's already there waiting for you, right? So if we want to attract it, we can't attract it if we're not on the same level. We raise our vibe so that it comes to us more easily. Step 6. Step 6 is to do it. Step 6 is to do it. Open up and take inspired action in this new high vibe, internally created state. So, and I have a whole bunch of questions here for you that are going to help walk you through the process. What is the first exciting step? What is it? For me, the first exciting step was creating creating visuals that I could post about through social media about the Lunar Cycle Coaching Intensive. I created visuals. That was the first step. It seems so simple, but it was the first step because as I could see it on the computer, I could start to visualize what it was going to look like. I could start to visualize how I was going to promote it, who I was going to reach out to, the beautiful women that I was going to be able to talk to. That was the first step, but it meant everything. What's the deadline? What's your deadline? I gave myself a long weekend. I said, okay, I'm going to offer this up for a long weekend because, Erin, this goes back to your point about the stamina. I knew that in order to attract in what I wanted in that weekend, which was new clients to serve, which was money so that I could intentionally put it to my Q1 taxes, which was to have fun with my kids and keep my vibe high and to get really spiritually connected. All of those things were going to require a lot of energy, and me talking about it was going to require energy. I gave myself 4 days, and that felt really good. So what's the deadline that you have for raising your vibe, and why do you have it? And then what's your goal? Declare, and then detach. I had a goal, but I knew that my worthiness was not contingent upon that goal. So it's super important that I say this. We set goals when we want to get out of the funk. And they're exciting because they give us something to work for. If you don't hit the goal exactly, that's okay. We detach from the outcome. We allow for spirit to do whatever spirit's going to do, and we allow for that to feel good and be okay. And then we create a statement of truth, and I want you guys to all do this tonight. You are so worthy, and you are ready to live the life of your truth because that feels good. I want you to state it. State your name, and I am ready to get out of the funk, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to do that. I'm going to take care of myself through X, Y, and Z means. It's going to feel fun because these are just some different prompts for you. Write that statement of truth and own it. And I will tell you that as I did it, you guys, that Monday, because I was so energetically aligned, because I had declared it and I owned it, I had called in, I had felt my feelings, I knew what the triggers were, I called in support, I got my game face on, I energetically up-leveled. Remember, this wasn't just about work. I was going for runs. I was meditating. I was going for, they're in the workbook, Heidi. I was playing with my kids. I was doing all the other things to keep myself on an energetic high level. And then I started doing all of them that Monday based on the beautiful souls that joined my new program and a couple payments that some current clients had that just happened to go through on that day. I made $4,872, you guys. I made literally $72 more than what I needed for my Q1 taxes. That's manifestation. That's getting super freaking crystal clear about doing the things to get out of the funk and then doing the things to call in what it is you need. Right? Amazing. And that's not only for me. I walked through every single one of these steps. I cried through every single one of these steps. I screamed through many of them. And then I got back up and I allowed myself to be held. I allowed myself to be supported. I allowed myself to energetically lock in with me and to know my truth and to declare it. To declare it. I allowed myself to receive. I allowed myself to dance and to play and to laugh. Because I know for certain that the funk, where I was feeling, does not live in the same playing field as laughter and as of love. So I started focusing on those things. So final notes for you guys. The funk does not define you. And there is nothing wrong with you for getting into funky spaces. And you have the power to get yourself out and feeling better whenever you want. And I dare say you all want to tonight. That's why you're here, right? That's why you're here. And if you don't want to feel better, ask yourself why. It's a different conversation to have. If you're in the funk, but you're like, I don't want to feel better. I know what I want to do, or I know what I should do, but I don't really want to. Then you need to ask yourself why. What are you proving to yourself by not feeling better? What story have you been living? Maybe that you're not worthy enough. Maybe that you don't deserve it. Maybe that nothing good ever happens to you. Maybe that you were destined to live a life of bleh. Are you telling yourself those stories? And if you are, why are you telling yourself those stories? And how can we shift them so that you don't have to prove that they're true? I want you to remember that you actually are a miracle, and the universe is always laying out the path of least resistance for you. It's your job to stop funking up the trail and you get to defunk it. When you pull a human and you funk it up anyway. There are multiple avenues to continually support you and make this process easier for you. Which one feels the best to you, right? Let's get back to what feels good. Said another way, what are you no longer available for? What are you done making excuses about? What are you ready to finally dive into with support, encouragement, and self-love guidance? What are you ready for, you guys? You are worthy of getting out of the funk. You are worthy of getting out of the funk. Oh, this has been so fun. And I will share with you guys that I'm so grateful. Oh, you guys, I'm so glad. I will share with you, because I know that some of you have been asking me, and some of you are ready for this. But if you are looking for support, going back to that step 3, if you're ready to call in support and you're ready to call me in as one of your people, we can get on the phone. We can talk about that immediately. I actually have time set aside tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. That if you're serious about wanting to bring in a life coach who will get to know you, like I said, you want people who know your heart and who know their stuff. Ladies, I know my stuff, and I know many of you very, very, very well. I have times tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday. For those of you that would like to set up, I'm calling them a Rising Dreams conversation. Some people call them discovery calls. I want to help you get out of the funk on an even deeper level. I want to help you go there. So if you're feeling like, yeah, I need her help, then let's get on a call. Let me show you. I'm actually going to flip my screen. And you can call this out, you guys. If you see a time here that you're like, yeah, I want to have a conversation with you about what coaching would look like, shout out a time now, and I will mark you down, and that will be your time, and we can have a call. I wish there was a better way to show you guys this. But these Rising Dream convos are totally free. I do a little bit of coaching on them. I share with you about my programs. I get to know what it is you are really, really looking for. And I get to help you through it. We get to really talk and we get to really connect. Do any of these times look like a time that you would like to hop on a call with me? You can comment right below. Having you as one of my people has been life-changing because I got you along with a group of incredible women. Yes, Erin, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you, Michaela. Michaela says, highly, highly, highly recommend working with Jillian. Thank you, my loves. I know I have some of my Rising Mastermind ladies on here. And I've got, actually, Michaela was one of the beautiful souls that joined my my lunar cycle intuitive life coaching intensive, and it's been amazing so far. Thank you, Kate. You guys are the bomb.com. Does anyone want one of these times? You can like really, you can just type it in below. I'm going to flip the camera around for just a second. Okay, take a look at those times for one last minute. Okay, comment below if you want one of those times. And I will say that right now, I have perfect Monica. Monica is going to message me tonight. Perfect. That sounds great. I have 2 main offers right now that I work with people. I have we call it the Rising Mastermind, which is very sisterhood centered. It's very, there is one-to-one coaching with that as well as group coaching, and it's magical because like I said, we were not meant to do this alone, and the depths that we go to in that group are just incredible. They remind us of what we're truly meant for. And then I am actually going to open back up just 2 spots for my lunar cycle intensive. I've got the capacity to take on 2 more one-to-one clients, which is 2 lunar cycles, me and you. You've got a little Jillian in your pocket. So if you took a look at those and any of those look like, yeah, I want to talk about it. I just want to have a free discovery call. I want to see what this looks like for me. I want to see what the options are. Let's talk. And in the meantime, you guys, you don't have to stay in the funk. The funk is not there for you. The funk is not there. It's not where your power is. It's not the life that you were meant to live. And there's so much that's available for you. And if you think about it, the entire world feels the ripple effect of your energy. So if you want to create a life of wealth, of abundance, of happiness, of joy, this is the time for you because your people will feel it too. My loves, thank you. Send me a message if you want. Monica will connect after. Send me a message if you want to hook up with one of these times, and we will get that on the schedule. We will roll with you, and I will see how I can support and love you even deeper. And I just hope that this served you. I hope that these steps really helped you. They helped me, and if they can help me with the really crappy place I was in, I know for certain they can help you if you apply them. I can't make you apply them. Now it's your turn. But I want for you to really put this to work. And as you go through these steps, you guys message me. Tag me on social media. Let me know where you are and what you're doing. And we'll go from there. I'll get to support and love you. All right, you guys. Have a great night. Thank you for being here. Share this with your friends. You're amazing. Thank you. Bye, you guys.